In this video, I'm going to show you how to use short division to divide some decimal numbers by some simple single-digit numbers. And I've got 4 examples to go through. They're all slightly different. The first one is very easy. It's very simple set of numbers. The second one, slightly different. What happens when we need to start carrying remainders over one place? Here, the difference between example 2 and example 3 is that there's going to be nothing to carry from the 8 across to the 0. And so how do we handle it when there's a 0 in the middle of the number? And in the last example, we're going to find out what to do if there's a remainder at the end. Okay, so with the first one, 68.2 divided by 2. Let me just recap the skills that we'd use as if it was a whole number. 682 divided by 2. I would write something like this, 682 divided by 2. And then I would do 2 into 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 2 into 8, or 8 divided by 2 is 4. And 2 into 2, or 2 divided by 2 is 1. So I get the answer at 341 for that. Hopefully those skills are something you remember from before. So now I'm going to try the decimal question and we'll see how it differs. 68.2 divided by 2. So the first thing I want to remind myself is that the answer is going to be a decimal and that the decimal point pops up above the line, right above where it was. Not over here, not over there, not over there, but exactly above where it currently is now. So it just pops up here. If I do that right at the beginning, before I even attempt the rest of the question, it's going to get me out of some trouble if I forget it later on. Okay, 2 into 6, 3, 2 into 8, 4, no, I said I was going to do blue, 4, and 2 into 2 is 1. Oh, look at that, it's 84.1, that's the answer. So the process was exactly the same as it was with the whole number question, exactly the same. And you'll have noticed, hopefully, that the answer, 34.1, is 10 times smaller than 341, and that's because we were doing 68.2 divided by 2, and 68.2 is 10 times smaller than 682. Okay, so, easy. Okay, I used an easy set of numbers where the 2 would divide nicely into each of them. With the next example, 50.8 divided by 2, minor difference in the difficulty. The only thing that's going to be different is that the 2 doesn't go into the 5 without remainder. Nearly forgot. The decimal point pops up. Okay, 2 into 5 is 2, remainder 1. 2 into 10 is 5, no remainder. And 2 into 8 is 4. So the answer is 25.4. Okay, that wasn't too difficult. That should have been fairly familiar to you as well. Next example, 80.4 divided by 2. Decimal point pops up. And we do 2 into 8, which is 4. And then we get to the crunch bit. 2 into 0. And what I find myself often doing is forgetting what I need to put here. Let's think about it for just a second. 0 divided by 2 is 0. I know that. If I was being asked what's 0 divided by 2, I put 0. But what I seem to forget when I'm doing a short division question like this is that I do actually need to write the 0 there. What instead I sometimes do is not write the 0 and then carry on dividing the 2 into the 4 and writing the answer there, which in fact is wrong. So let's rewind. What I should do is put the 0 in here and then move on to the 4. 40.2. Okay, so if there's a 0 somewhere in the middle of your number and you're just doing 0 divided by the number on the outside, you will need to put a 0 at the top. Okay, and the final example involves a number 48.3, which when divided by 2 there will be a remainder. So what do we do in that situation? Okay, well, by now you'll be familiar with the idea that the decimal point pops up. And 2 into 4 is 2. 2 into 8 is 4. 2 into 3 it's 1, but there's 1 left over. So do I write remainder 1? That seems a bit odd. 24 wholes, 1/10, and a remainder 1? No. There's no way that that can be right. It just doesn't make sense. Okay, so what do? I put the 1, the remainder 1, here, in the next column. In the next column. And what will I do? I'll have to add a 0 in the hundredths column. You might be thinking, I've just added a 0, I've just made the number bigger. In that case, we need to probably go back and look at place value, but just to reassure you, by adding a 0 in the hundredths, or in the thousandths, or the 10,000ths, etc., etc., as long as these are the last zeros of the whole number, I'm not actually changing the value of the number. Okay, just by adding all those zeros, I'm not making the number any bigger or any smaller. If I started putting in other numbers, yeah, of course, I'm making the number bigger. But I'm not. I'm just going to put in a simple 0, which doesn't make the number any bigger or any smaller. I'm not cheating in any way. I'm just saying that I've got 0 in the hundredths column, which is fair enough because that's what I had before. I'm just writing the 0 now. Okay, that was just to reassure you that I'm not cheating. I'm doing anything tricky here. 2 into 10 is 5, with no remainder. So that's it. That's the end of that division, isn't it? 48.3 divided by 2 is 24.15. Perhaps what would help you to see it better is if I said 48.30 divided by 2 is 24.15. Okay. If I wanted to check those, I would do a multiplication. I'd just use the inverse operation